This is a huge clash that we have on our hands. We have Grandmaster Nodirbek Abdusattorov from Uzbekistan coming in, fresh from his victory over Alireza Firouzja in the previous round. This is the 10th round of the World Blitz Championships 2025. And his opponent is also the man in form, Arjun Erigaisi, the India #1 player versus the Uzbek #1 player. This is going to be a fascinating clash, and Arjun coming in fresh from his win against Magnus Carlsen. These two youngsters, the future of chess, could very well be fighting for the world title in few years from now, and this promises to be a very, very exciting clash between them. Arjun adjusts all his pieces, gets ready. 3 minutes plus 2 seconds increment. The players shake hands, and this, dear friends, is the ChessBase mobile app recap of the day. Abdusattorov with the white pieces plays e4. We have e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop to b5. The Ruy Lopez on the board, and Arjun goes for an early bishop to c5, which makes Nodirbek stop in his tracks. He's thinking about what move he should play. He goes for the c3, d4 idea. Knight comes to e7, castles here. And now black generally plays bishop a7 or knight g6. He goes bishop a7. And when white strikes in the center with d4, black goes knight g6 and defends his pawn in the center. So this is slightly different from the knight coming to f6. The knight on g6 is quite interestingly placed, defending this pawn and also eyeing the f4 square. Now, one of the main ideas in this position is to play bishop g5, provoke f6, and then come back to e3. But Nodirbek is thinking, he's taking his time to decide what is the setup that he would like to go for. And he goes bishop to e3 directly without forcing the move f6. Arjun quickly castles here. And now knight to d2 makes a lot of sense to finish your development. Black can now play the move d6, which is very solid. But Arjun goes for a more direct approach, and rightly so. He plays e takes d4. And now you take cd4 back. You can feel it that Nodirbek is a bit unsure about how he should continue here. He's taking his time. He's not responding immediately. Maybe should I take knight d4, some kind of a bailout move? No, he goes takes and d5, very quickly played. If pawn to e5 looks like the most natural move. If pawn takes pawn, you can even go knight e7 and then pick it up with the knight here. Bishop takes c6 is also a possible move. He plays pawn to e5. And with this move, he gains space in the position. And black goes f6. Now, a very important way to play here, yes, to take on c6, pawn takes, and now to take on f6, queen f6, so that black cannot take here. But instead, he goes rook c1, which is inaccurate because now black can take on e5. And you can see Arjun putting the bishop there on the side. He's excited. Pawn takes pawn. Suddenly the rook opens up. Pawn takes pawn taken. And now d4 played. Even before, instead of taking on e3, he's just pushed the pawn to d4. The bishop is almost trapped here. But there is the g5 square at your disposal. And Nodirbek is thinking whether he should insert the move queen b3 check or not in this position. I think it's a good move. It's an important move and should be played. So he plays queen b3 check. King goes to h8 and now bishop g5 attacking the queen. The queen quickly moves to e8. Arjun has 2 minutes 20 seconds. The speed at which he's playing is absolutely incredible. Rook e1. Defending the pawn on e5, also threatening to push forward with e6. I think bishop e6 makes a lot of sense in this position. and he plays it. Queen to a4. And do you want to play the move c5 here to just defend everything? Looks like a strong move. But Arjun asks the question to the bishop on g5. He goes bishop h4, and now knight f4 is an incredibly strong move. The idea is to put the bishop on d5. So if you take queen c6, I have a fork coming in, and otherwise it's problem. So knight f4 is a very good move for Arjun. But he goes knight takes h4, takes, and bishop d5. And now black is better for sure. Look at the bishop here. The other bishop also looking in this diagonal. The pawn is very strong. The queen is ready to move to g6, h5. The rook is well placed on the open file. So clearly black's position is for preference here. But it's not so easy to beat Nodirbek Abdusattorov. e6, a tremendously fighting move here. Of course, you can't take bishop e6 because after queen takes c6, white is back into the game. A good move now is to play d3 to open up the bishop here on a7. He goes rook f4, attacking the knight on h4. The knight must come back. He comes back to f3. And now queen g6 makes a lot of sense. He goes queen e7. And that's not the best move because now Nodirbek can take the pawn on a6. Instead, he sacrifices an exchange here with rook c6. Maybe a very split-second decision, a little bit of a hasty decision there by Nodirbek Abdusattorov to take on c6. And you can see Arjun calculating it through. Bishop takes, queen takes. Now attacking the rook on a8. And rook f8 makes a lot of sense, but also there is rook e8. He brings his rook to e8. And knight e5, threatening a big fork on g6. The rook comes back, attacking the pawn on e6. And if knight f7 check, there is king g8 in the position. Or in fact, there could be also tactics here with rook f7 and then e1 hanging. So he cannot play it. Knight g6 is not happening. He takes knight f3 he plays. And now d3 to activate the bishop on this diagonal. Arjun pushes forward. Pawn to d3. Queen takes a6. He takes the pawn, attacking the bishop. 13 seconds for Nodirbek. 46 seconds for Arjun. Well, Arjun's calculating. He goes d2. Beautiful move. If you take here, f2 is hanging with a check. So he goes now rook to f1. He could have played rook d1, but now there's a beautiful tactic. Rook, bishop f2. If you take with the rook, I queen. Bishop f2 check. Can Arjun find it? 30 seconds on his clock. 8 seconds for Nodirbek Abdusattorov. And Arjun has his hand in his head. Takes it. Beautiful move. And Nodirbek knows that he's in trouble. Now check. King goes to g3. Rook takes e6. Attacks the queen and the knight. The queen comes back. He takes on e5. Knight e5. Queen e5 check. He moves the king to h3. And right now the pawn is not queening. How do you finish this off? Is the big question. Yeah, check. King here, another check. Defending the pawn on d2. And threatening a check here on e3 if you go to h3. So king f3. And now rook e1. Beautifully played. The pawn is queening. There's no way to stop it. Nodirbek Abdusattorov resigns. Arjun Erigaisi scores a very good win. And you can see Nodirbek looking in the distance, thinking about what he could have done wrong. And what I love is that queen takes a6. He sees this move immediately. And arbiter asks who won. And I let you with the conversation of Nodirbek and Arjun. All these years, ChessBase was a software that needed to be installed on your computer. But now, ChessBase has come up with a mobile app. It's called the ChessBase mobile app and it is available both on Android and iPhone. With the app, you can now prepare against an opponent. You can get access to more than 11 million games in your database. You can create a new game, analyze it. The premium users get access to the fastest cloud engines, and then you can save your analysis. What's more is that the app is completely free. If you want to stay connected to serious chess preparation on the go, then the ChessBase mobile app is for you.